All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on? Go Collect, SJ, Anthony, Jay Steele, Sean Sullivan, Wins a Lot, Michael Ortiz, Tweezy, Kevin, Takedown, Jordan, Morse, Reezer, Jared, Pairby, Bring the Noise, MN Holla, Allen, Bradley, Arnip, Scott, Adam, A Bizzle, Bradley, Kevin, our man Kenny W, Joey, Pairby, Billy, Rashad, Woody, Ross, Philly Phantom, Derek, Nick, Deep Fat, Big Ed, what is going on, everybody? Anthony Massey, I hope I did not miss one person. Zach, Lay the House, Nate D, Brad, appreciate every single one. And of course, shout out, hello to my man Ham, to my man BJ, both stepping in today. Very sharp guys, doing all the sports over here. NBA has been the main priority. Baseball, you see both of them in the streets all the time. They're always in the NFL streets too. Ham does a slate plan over here. BJ contributes when you need them. What you guys don't know about BJ, though, he's a killer in all sports. BJ, I'm going to throw it right to you to start. I'm sorry, Ham. I know you're in the two-hole. Going to go down because our man BJ had a great week last week. What's going on, BJ? Happy to have you. How's your Sunday going? Talk a little bit about last week.
Yeah, no, man, I'm excited. I wasn't ready for your open, man. I didn't know you can name that many people that fast. So trying to wake up still. But, yeah, I got a little lucky last week. Needed it, but all credit to Ham over there, who I'll pass to right away. He got me on Addison late, 1v1. Thought I'd shoot him a message, hook me up with Addison, so I appreciate him. Without that, I don't think I made cash. So had a fun week last week, but that was all Ham getting me on Addison early.
Ham, Addison, there was a couple, maybe 1 month, 2 months ago, definitely a couple weeks ago, I do remember you filling in for our man Hoopster, I believe. Yeah, Tambo, because I was the host. You said a little Jordan Addison at 2% against the Packers, who did good. Last week you called it as well. Gonna need a sneaky play from you today, but how you doing?
Yeah, no, doing good. Yeah, it was he had a rushing touchdown and a catching touchdown in that game you talked about. And then that was BJ. That was awesome. I had Addison in my core over here at SHIPIT Nation. Did not have as good a day as BJ, but it's hard to have a good day when it felt like everybody on the slate nuked. All the chalk was nuking, but it was an awesome weekend for BJ. Awesome weekend for everybody over here at SHIPIT Nation. So happy to be here filling in for Tambo and Hoop. I was with our guy Tambo last night at the DraftKings Live Final. Fun time with him and his wife down in Nashville. So, yeah, looking forward to breaking it all down. Hey, last time I was on the show, too, I faded Najee Harris, Chalk Najee title, and he hooked it up. I got some more guys we're going to fade today, so looking forward to breaking all 12 games down with you and my guy BJ.
I love it. Always love doing shows with you, Ham. The hot takes don't stop rolling in, but he always has a reason behind it. Two very sharp players I'm playing with. Excited. All we ask from you guys, like button, subscribe button, helps us out a ton. You guys know the drill. We are sharing the stone over here. NFL, our proprietary tool. We'll go game by game. Like always, again, we're not going to have a certain like number today. We do appreciate the like, though, the subscribe. And our man Kenny, been waiting 365 days for this. He is in the DraftKings Live Final. I know his kids was sick, so Tambo is there in his place. Kenny W at home from the sofa looking to win a nice, I think, $2.25 million, something absolutely insane. Good luck to you, Kenny. Good luck to any other members out there. Good luck to all my best ball fellas, all my home league fellas out there. Week one for anyone that knows how to run a league. I know my man Zim's watching behind. He does not know how to run a league. Week one of the playoffs is this week. Good luck to everybody out there. Home league, best ball season. Let's talk some broad slate overview on this slate. It looks pretty clear to me in the fact of roster construction. I don't think cheap value is good by any means. I think that will be Stone Smart, Brenton Strange at tight end if people do want to go there. Trey McBride also looks underpriced, so I do think 2 tight ends will be in play. Also 3 running backs. As we've seen almost all year, no 4 wide receivers. Hasn't really been the year for that like the past couple. Quarterback, I think relatively will be spread out. People live somewhere in the mid-tier at wide receiver, more balanced build from there. BJ, throw it to you. You talk mainly DraftKings. I know, Ham, you play both sites, but FanDuel a little as well. So I'll go broad slate overview on DraftKings to you, and then Ham for FanDuel. What do you see, BJ?
Yeah, I mean, chalk running backs that, obviously have paths to failure in Rico and Hubbard. But it's one of those weeks for me that I think I just want to, be solid and hit my stack, right? I'm not looking to get too cute. I believe ownership is kind of like you said, you talk about your two top owned pieces are cheap, tight ends and running backs. So I'm not really looking to get cute. Going to be focusing on some skinnies and single run backs, but nothing too crazy for me today. And that's how I'll stay gating game.
I like it. Ham, any thoughts on FanDuel? Any differences there? Always easier to pay a little more up at a running back or a quarterback, et cetera. But any thoughts on FanDuel?
Yeah, I mean, you're touchdown hunting over on FanDuel, and you got Chuba, you got Rico, you got Charbonnet, all in great matchups, all with great prices. I personally think, we were talking a little pre-show. I think Jeremy Ruckert is in the conversation now. 4,000 on FanDuel. A pivot off Stone Smart. I mean, after Garrett and Devontae, I think he's going to get some targets. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll talk through it. But yeah, it's a 3 running back day, especially in cash, as always, over on FanDuel. And then I like a few receivers that aren't going to be as popular. We'll talk through it as we get in these games. But to me, Calvin Ridley's always tough to play, right? Just with the erratic play of his quarterback. But we'll talk through it all and talk who's good chalk and bad chalk.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did mention the name Rucker this morning. Tyler Conklin, a surprise inactive due to personal reasons. We have Ladd McConkey questionable. I'm acting like he is going to play, but that's a questionable status. Bucky Irving, it looks like we'll give it a go today as well. So not too much injury news we are waiting on. Last step before we do go game by game. If you do want to join us at the Nation again, all we ask, like button, subscribe button. We love our YouTube Nation out here. If you do have a little extra change, though, this holiday season, trying to parlay it into even more money. So many sports going on in the DFS world right now. BF50 is still going on, gets you 50% off your first month. If you want Shiptimizer, that code does work for that as well. Definitely do get in the Discord if you do join. If you just want football, also includes college football. No better deal out there. $99 for the rest of the season. We'll still have tons of slates, showdown slates. We're going to have like 2-game slate tomorrow instead of just 1 game. Christmas time, you get fun football, you get basketball, so much going on, big boy prizes. $99 for the year, $129 for the rest with NFL season. Hey, maybe get a little family member a gift. Another D-Gen out there that wants to maybe make a little money, learn about their process. Let them know about ShipItNation.com.
I love that Christmas idea, man. That's my stocking stuffer. Just, little Ship It Nation gift cards, man. I love it.
There you go. Absolutely. Let's talk some football. We're going to go first game of the night, go all the way down. 12 DraftKings, 13 on FanDuel. Going to kick it off right in this first game. Again, we are sharing the stone. As you can see, the color coordination's up top. Little purple right here. Dallas Cowboys traveling to the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers 1-point favorites. Very weird to see. 43-point total in this one in Carolina. I'm going to throw it to you to start on this one, Ham. As you can see, Chuba will be one of the most popular, if not the most popular play on the slate. We have 34% that is large field tournaments. Adam Thielen has been an absolute monster since returning with Bryce Young. Got to shout out Bryce Young, too. Ever since he has made the return after getting benched for Andy Dalton, man, he is moving this offense. They look good. Thielen coming back definitely helps. Leggett, dude likes raccoon. Can he fall in the box? Maybe pay for a couple more raccoons. Not sure if anyone saw that. But, Ham, how you doing today? What do you think of this game? Talk about Panthers side first.
The best part about that interview was just listening to him talk. I mean, he's got the
It's insane. It's insane how he talks. Like, literally crazy.
I know you don't think that's going to come out. Then I'm not doing no raccoon. That just doesn't sound good. Jalen Coker coming back. I know there was some talk earlier in the week. Who's that going to impact the most? Leggett, Thielen, whatnot. But yeah, I think Hubbard's a great play, even at that ownership. I mean, he has nobody behind him, right? Sanders is out for the season. Brooks tore his ACL again. I mean, Mike Boone is his backup. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we're looking at 95% of the carries for Hubbard. He can also catch the ball out of the backfield. Great price on both sides. Hubbard squarely in play. Thielen would be the only other one that I would go to, and that would be more of a DraftKings type play than a FanDuel. He's a PPR monster. I'm not doing Bryce Young. I just I have like flashbacks to him going like 8 for 21 for 97 yards, and I'm just not going to do it. Not in this game, but that is weird that, I think it's the first game, 40 games or something like that they're favored. But let's go to the other side. Rico Dowdle, great spot for Rico. I wrote him up in the FanDuel slate plan. Zeke Elliott is dust and has been dust, but they're not giving him the ball. I think he had 1 or 2 carries on Monday night, but Dowdle's the man. And then I'm interested to hear your two take on CeeDee Lamb. I mean, we all digest a lot of content all week, and not one person has mentioned CeeDee Lamb. Playing 97% of the snaps, 7+ targets. I mean, I like CeeDee Lamb as a very contrarian piece in this. I don't think I'll get to any of the tight ends in this game, but it's Lamb, Dowdle, Hubbard, and Thielen for me in this one.
I'll throw it right to you, BJ. CeeDee Lamb, definitely very interesting. I mean, the price is most definitely fair and in check. I can argue pretty much everybody on the slate. It feels like DraftKings has underpriced, but yeah, definitely a target monster on the road. Cooper Rush behind center, though. So thoughts on that side? Start Cowboys and CeeDee, and then take us to the Panthers.
Yeah, no, obviously inclined to play at, we have him at 3% ownership, but I think he's sandwiched right in between 2 plays, which we'll get to, that I'd much rather play in a Ty Freak or Scary Terry and Terry McLaurin. So not really finding myself to him. I find a little bit more on the other side with Thielen, just to reiterate what you said, 54 on DraftKings, just too cheap for me. I mean, in his last 2, he's gone for 8 and 91, 99 and 1, and then 9 for 102. 54 is just not enough. And that's going to help me get off the Hubbard chalk. Is obviously great play. I think both these guys, I get why they're going to be popular, specifically on DraftKings. Like you alluded to, nobody in the backfield. Zeke gets like 1 or 2 carries. He's averaging 22 touches over the last 3. But I'm more inclined to kind of go Thielen and run back a Rico versus getting to the Hubbard side, maybe with the CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I'm on the similar page. There's just really, I'm not going either quarterback or stacks. It's Rico on the Cowboy side and really nothing else. I don't hate CeeDee, but I'm definitely in agreement with you, BJ, about who he's priced around. Like, I rather Tyreek, but I also, because I'm going to be playing some Tua, I do rather Terry when I'm playing Jaden Daniels stuff. I know I'm not playing Cooper Rush. Like, in a vacuum, I'd rather find I know it's a lot of money, 800, but I like Nico Collins a lot more and stuff. You can compare him to other running backs in that same range. Thoughts on Panthers defense, BJ? Definitely getting a little love, and the easy pairing, Chuba, Panthers D, and people move on. What are your thoughts on Panthers D today?
Totally get it. Falls into a good price point at 2,700. That's the way I'm going to construct. I'm making 5 lineups today. That's how I'll construct all of them. I want to pair my defense, obviously, with the running back. I don't want to just get cute, though, and throw in a Panthers defense if I don't have correlation between that. I think there's a bunch of options in that range where you can just kind of throw darts and see who might get multiple sacks and maybe a couple of turnovers. So, yeah, they're okay, but definitely pair with Hubbard. The one guy I will talk about on the other side before we move on is Ferguson at 3,800. I think that's a touch too cheap, since he's come back. Kind of curious to hear your guys' thoughts. There we go. Perfect. I'm flipping screens. But his price is too cheap. And so I kind of wanted to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Man, tight end is just so loaded today. And I think I'd rather go all the way down or go something like McBride or just play a tight end. Like if I was going CJ Stroud or Dalton Schultz or just pairing my tight end with my quarterback in a stack and I'm not going Cooper Rush. But ownership is really low as we're showing Ham. Any thoughts on Ferguson?
Yeah, nothing on Ferguson. I mean, it's Lamb or Dowdle for me, but I really think this is a great spot for the Cowboys to just lay down and quit. I mean, they played on Monday. They basically got eliminated from the playoffs. They're talking about trading Micah Parsons now. Overshown is out. Diggs is out. Your boy, Title McCarthy, is an absolute donkey. The Panthers have been playing better. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys just lay down, quit, and the Panthers roll, and your boys fired on Monday. Like, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But no Ferguson for me. It's Lamb, Dowdle, and then those other 2 for the Panthers.
Yeah, and if you think that's the case, I think eating Chuba chalk, Panthers D makes a ton of sense. We saw last week, Garindo chalk got there. Charb chalk got there. It was just whether you wanted – it was Allen and Shakir or the Sam Darnold, Jefferson, Addison. You had to get the main stacks right, but shows you can definitely eat chalk in this sport. So to wrap it up, Rico for me on the Cowboys side. Otherwise, Chuba, Thielen, Panthers D, because I'm not going, or I don't think Leggett's the worst play or the craziest play, I guess, is a one-off. Talk about leverage. Leverage is all the Chuba stuff and Thielen stuff. More of a big play guy, though. Not my favorite one-off. I'd just rather go Thielen, Chuba, Rico. Do think all are strong plays. Let's go to the next game. One I definitely don't have much interest in. The only game on Kevin Ross weather report that is yellow-orange. Looks like some winds, possible precipitation. Kansas City Chiefs headed to the Cleveland Browns. Chiefs are 4-point favorites, looking at about a 45 total. I'm going to throw – actually, the one thing I'll say, Elijah Moore's price on FanDuel, $4,700 on FanDuel. Anytime you see a price cheaper on FanDuel than DraftKings, you know some solid value. Ownership is reflecting that as well. Besides that price on FanDuel, I don't like this game. Cold. I respect Chiefs defense. Jameis definitely can sling it, but like one-offing the pass catchers, a Judy, a Moore is fine. We have to talk about Njoku as well. I believe he's going to try and go through pregame warm-ups, see how it goes. So BJ, I'll throw it to you in this one. Browns, Chiefs, any interest?
Yeah, no, exactly what you said. 50 mile an hour, gusts up to 30 miles an hour. I don't think we realize how fast 30 miles an hour is with gusts. Possible rain, like what you said. Not really loving it, but to kind of parlay off what we talked about last game, I'm kind of liking this Pacheco at 6K at low ownership with the defense of the Chiefs at 3,700. Both will be low owned. You know, you obviously have the turnover capabilities of Winston. That's kind of where my headlines are to steal Tambo and what you guys talk about. Never Mahomes. No thanks for me. If I was making a ton of lineups, I would kind of get some Xavier Worthy action. You know, Browns give it up. They have what? Well, first of all, Worthy has, 4 straight games of at least 5 touches. And, the Browns are giving up some of the biggest plays in the league. So that would be the only way if I'm making multiple lineups, I get to Mahomes and Worthy. But really headlining from the Chiefs for me is a low-owned Pacheco, kind of getting back in the rhythm, getting ready for the playoffs with the Chiefs D versus Jameis. And then to the Brown side, it's just ugly. I don't want to touch Chubb. I agree. Same goes for DraftKings, 5K for Elijah Moore. So he'll be popular and rightfully so. I am really curious about the Njoku stuff, though, because I don't want to contemplate a Jordan Atkins at 2,700, in the last hour before lock. But that's pretty much it. Sorry to kind of keep it simple and pass it back to you guys, but focusing on the run and the defensive game for the Chiefs rather than getting too cute outside of Elijah Moore with the Browns.
So let's say the Njoku misses. This is already a good question. Ruckert, Smart, Strange. Then we'd have another one in there, and Akins in that consideration. You don't have to, I guess, necessarily rank them if you want to put them in tiers. If you do have a strong opinion on the ranking, any thoughts on that, BJ, before I throw it to Ham for this game and the same question?
It's got to be Smart, right? It's got to be Smart and then Strange. And then Ruckert really wasn't on my radar until before, we came in to pre-show hearing about the news. But I think it's just going to be Echok with Smart and then, I guess Strange. But still, I don't love it. And like I said, I might get a little bit different than what you said and kind of mix in some Fergie at 37.
Makes sense. I will say I definitely would like Akins a little more than you. I just think he's a solid tight end, a huge role he has to fill on a pass happy team as 4-point dogs. Rucker would by far be my least favorite. Ham, any thoughts there? If not, take us Chiefs Browns.
Yeah, no, BJ nailed it. I mean, Smart has the best matchup against the Bucs. Strange, I would say, is number 2 for me. I mean, if Ladd, though, is in for the Chargers, which we think he is, I mean, I have the 3 receivers ahead of Smart, or Strange. I only have really Brian Thomas ahead of Strange, so maybe Strange would jump up, but no Jordan Akins for me. And obviously, we would only even consider Jordan Akins should Njoku sit. But hey, this is my first hot take, man, and you nailed it, Title. You nailed it right on the head. I mean, trying to get off Elijah Moore on FanDuel's tough. I mean, $4,700 is just cheap for his role. You can't really get another receiver on FanDuel at that price. But on DraftKings, this is one of the easiest fades of the day for me. Very easy fade for me. The Chiefs defense, very good. Windy. Elijah Moore is not very good. Quentin Johnston, 5K on DraftKings. Very nice play. Joshua Palmer, man, if Vlad McConkey sits, Joshua Palmer's a great play at 4,600, especially on DK. But on DraftKings, easy fade. And then nobody on the Chiefs outside of Travis Kelce. I really like Travis Kelce today. No one's playing Travis Kelce. Mahomes and Kelsey's rapport with each other, second to none. When it's cold, when it's windy, why not just pepper Kelce with 9 7-yard catches and maybe fall in the box one time? They're not going to throw it deep, in my opinion. They're going to pepper Kelce. I'm not a big narrative guy, but he's going home. I really like Travis Kelce. 8+ targets today, short, fall in the box. He's up. Tight end, top 3 in my opinion today.
And what I like about Kelce, like I know ball, my on the slate. Do I love Kelce? Not really. But the game theory aspect is what would make Kelce a really good play. McBride, he's 300 less than, who's definitely going to be way higher owned. And I think rightfully so, double-digit targets in the last 3. But if he can outscore McBride, everyone else is just going down at tight end like we talked about. So roster construction-wise, you get different there. You make the pivot for when people do spend up. You go Kelce over McBride. If I do go that, I think my favorite way to do it is just go with Judy, Moore, Akins, if there is no Njoku on the other side if he's hurt, because I think that I need someone on the Browns to speed the game up a bit, or at least you want the Chiefs throwing it to Kelce for full 4 quarters instead of take the air out of the football in the 4th. So I think my favorite way to go Kelce would be a Judy, a Moore, and Akins. And it doesn't break the bank by any means. It fits that mid-tier build there, but I don't see myself getting to this game much. Again, the worst weather game on the slate according to Roth, but it is definitely a really clean weather slate. It has been for the most part all year, especially talking mid-December. Ham, if you don't have anything left in that game, let's go to the next one, the Dolphins and the Texans. This one should be pretty good, 47.5 total. Texans 2.5-point favorites. Tua and the gang have definitely been good for DFS, and it feels pretty easy with them. Is it Achane, Tyreek, Waddle, Jonnu? I guess not necessarily easy, but I'm not clicking anybody outside of those 4. No OBJ at all. I believe he got cut. Texan side, 2 guys for me. Mixon, I'll say 3. Mixon, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz. Do I love any of them? Yeah, I always love Nico. Mixon's price is getting up there. Ownership, though, 12% Nico, sure. 9% Schultz, spend a little higher at tight end, but not much. Think he's fine. Joe Mixon at 20%. We might even be a little hot there, but we know his type of upside. Texans, Dolphins, Ham. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, I would agree with you again. It's like Mixon's not getting to 20%. No way. And I hope Hoop's not watching this show because I don't think any of us are going to like Dalton Schultz. I know that's his boy. So, so someone better mention.
He loves him for no reason. He really does.
It's not going to be me. I can promise you that. But I think this is a good game. There's 2 theories, in my opinion, on this game. Well, the first one, let's talk about the Dolphins. I really like the Dolphins. I mean, Achane is basically wide receiver 2. He's going to catch a lot of passes. I don't think he's going to run for a lot of yards. But I really like Achane today to catch passes. I like Tua. I like the 2 receivers. I like Smith. I think this game goes back and forth. CJ Stroud is also on the other side popping as well. I like him. Tank Dell, one of the best plays on the slate today, in my opinion. He's been so close so many times. And if he just hits on one of those, bombs, I think it was the Jacksonville game. He was wide open. It was all over X. And he just got overthrown. If he hits that, it's just a totally different narrative on him. But 6,100 on FanDuel, 5,400 on DK, just way too cheap. The Nico Collins is just a beast. So I think if you want to build this game, I think you could build it as a shootout and rack up those PPR on DK. On the flip side, if you wanted to get different, this Dolphins offensive line is pretty banged up. They're 2 of their better offensive linemen are gone. We know the Texans defensive line, Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter. I mean, they can get after Tua. They can get after this team. So if you wanted to play that narrative where it's like, hey, I'm going to take Joe Mixon and the Texans and not have any Dolphins, I could see that as well. I don't hate that. But with Tua, since he's been back, it's been a lot of short throws, a lot of quick passes. So that's why I would kind of lean a little bit more to the Achanes and Waddles and Hill types than going that, Mixon Texans route. But I could certainly see both ways.
Yeah, I'm a little torn on this side too. I'm not going to go the CJ stuff. It's expensive. I'd rather just one off the Nikos. I don't even love Schultz, but he's there as a pivot. Mixons of the world. I think Tank's fine. Like the price is definitely there. The game log has been real tough for me. BJ, help me out with this game. Dolphins Texans.
I agree. The Stroud stuff's ugly. Like, if people are going to play that, like, no, thank you. I'm happy for you guys to kind of get out of my way. We haven't seen any upside since what we'll call the upside his week 5 matchup versus Buffalo or week 4 versus Jacksonville. No,
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a long time. And it's so frustrating to watch him because he was so fun last year. And then you watch him now and you're like, this is a completely different player. But I do say I think it's a little bit different with Nico kind of healthy, if you will. Not really on the Tank Dell stuff, but do love your call on the Mixon Texans defense pairing. But, when I'm looking over, if you get Achane at 4%, I mean, it's just like you said, wide receiver 2. I mean, his reception props are 4 and 5 every week. You almost feel like you're obligated to play him because when they're inside the red zone, they're looking to get him targets. And so that's why I really like the Tua Achane, as everybody kind of playing this game likes. But my question would be like when game stacking, I have my take. I want to listen to you guys first. But what is Waddle versus Tank Dell, right? Obviously, like if you're playing the Tua, Achane, Waddle stuff, then you're kind of dolphined out. But I'm really curious about that coin flip. In my head, I would go lower owned and who my quarterback is. But I think that's interesting when you're making multiple game stacks.
It's definitely interesting. What are your thoughts, Sam?
No coin flip. Play them both. Get about 250 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then you're in the top. I mean, that's a great mini, and I got it on a bunch of teams, so I hope I'm right. Waddle, Dell, minis. I got a bunch of them in there. I love Waddle today, but yeah, I love both of those. So play them together. I know their price are near the same, but let's play them together.
Yeah, load up the Tua Achane Waddle run back tank. Can't wait. I love it. We'll see you at the top.
Yeah, I mean, man, that's the hard part of this game. Like, I like it, but I'm a little more hesitant because it's hard to get the pieces right. Like the Tua, like you play Tyreek and Waddle, then it's the Jono game or it's an Achane game. You overstack it. You really need it to get there. Like I don't love playing 3 of them. My favorite's going Tua and picking 2. And then who's the run back? Is it Mixon? Is it Tank? Is it Nico? I know my favorite is definitely Nico on the Texan side, especially in Tua stuff because he can speed up the game better than anybody. 1 play, 70 yards, boom, Tua has the ball right back. Where, of course, Tank can do it, Mixon can break it off, but we see it more from Nico. He is the most expensive, though. So, like, if I'm going Nico, maybe I'm more likely to go Tua, Waddle, Jonnu. Whereas if I'm going Tank as the run back, maybe it's easier to go Tua, Tyreek, or whatever, something like that. So, just thinking out loud, I do prefer Dolphin side. But I do think there is a way to not really play this game at all and then just go Mixon. Like Mixon, Texans defense, like you said, they'll take the arrow to the football, give it to Mixon 25 times. Defense gets after Tua a bit, and it's struggles that way. So, yeah, this is one of the more difficult games on the slate for me. I'm definitely going to have pieces. What I'm going to do with Tua, I'm going to play some Tua, but I think I'm going to be more skinny stacks in this game, and there's plenty of ways you can go about that like we talked about.
Yeah, but I'm sorry to interrupt. Before we go, I see this like to dive in or to finish off. This also feels like, to reiterate what you said, like a game where the Dolphins could just have like an 8-7 minute drive. And you look up in like the start of the game and you're like, wow, they really ran 15 plays and they manufactured 6 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards, 7 yards. And then you're looking at the end of the first quarter or the end of the second quarter, and it's the first game to halftime. And you're just like, how did each team get the ball 2.5 times? So that's where I'll leave it at, is that if you are fading that, there is a possibility for that. Similar to how I feel about Eagles games when we get to, it's like, how the hell did 9 minutes come off the clock?
It's crazy to watch some games going into halftime, another game like 8 minutes left in the second quarter, and you're stacking the game at half. Nothing worse than that. But let's keep it going. That was definitely an important one to talk about. I think this next one won't take as long, but some individual pieces I'm interested in. Jets, Jaguars, looking at a 40.5 total. The Jets 3.5 point favorites. Again, this is, if I refresh, it's probably updated now, but no Tyler Conklin. So Jeremy Ruckert, min price, will be the starting tight end. I see it the same way as a Stone sees it. Devontae or bust on the Jet side. Brees will play. Don't have to worry about any Jets backfield. If you want to go Garrett Wilson, fine. I mean, it's been pretty clear to me. Rodgers' main number one has been Devontae. 6.9K is fair. Jake side, Brian Thomas. There is no Evan Ingram. He is out for the year. So Bretton Strange. Really, really easy for me. 3 guys. If I have no one in this game, sure. If I have one, sure. If I have Devontae Thomas or Devontae Strange, also fine with that. But easy for me, Ham. What about you?
Yeah, see, I like Wilson a little bit more than maybe you and others. I mean, Wilson. I mean, it's Wilson and Adams, right? And now, not that Conklin was seeing a bunch of targets, but why would Rodgers? I mean, their season's over. Why not just throw it to them 30 times between the two and let them rack up their stats? There's literally no one else to throw to. I mean, I guess Allen Lazard, Brees, but what if he just says, "I'm not throwing to Jimmy Rucker. I'm throwing to those two." Jaguars are awful. And then on the flip side, yeah, Strange. I mean, just looking at, I said it a minute ago, but I mean, looking at this wide receiver core for the Jags, I mean, Brenton Strange could very easily be the second best target on this team. Looking at that roster, Tank Bigsby did get 18 carries last week. Interested to hear y'all's take on that at 5,100. Jets rush defense. We picked on them all season, starting game one with Jordan Mason. I mean, do you have any love for Tank? I don't think I do, but interested on y'all's take, or y'all's take, not Tank, take on Tank in this one. But yeah, I mean, you said it. Brian Thomas, Tank, Brenton Strange, kind of for the Jags. Nothing fancy in this one.
I will say I don't know if the word's overlooked or if the right word's overlooked, since I'm still not sure I'm really going to play any. But like, there's almost no viable running backs in that range. Like, talk about different roster construction. And yeah, I mean, he's surpassed ETN. C rushing defense. I mean, talk about a ham call. That's the definition of a ham call. Talk to me, BJ. I was like, again, I only said 3 guys in this one. One was not Tank, but I'm at least a little intrigued. Maybe it's more early slate stuff. I believe it's 7 games and 5 on the afternoon. But talk to me, BJ.
Yeah, no, Tank's going to fall behind Brian Thomas for me. So I think my rankings as far as the Jag goes Thomas, Strange, and then Tank. But I agree. I think it's Tank over ETN. It's just he's young. He's going to take over the role. 5,100. I love the low own play, but to kind of reiterate how Ham started this and you started it was I don't want to be like the first guy because this isn't like creating the wheel, but why not just go Rodgers, Adams, Wilson and just call it a day? You can have your run back, but I couldn't agree more that the season's over. You kind of want to get, the season ended in the right way in Rodgers' head because, this is the head case. But I think it's Rodgers, Adams, Wilson. Decide if you want to run back from the Jag side. In that case, I don't want Tank. I don't want ETN. And it becomes, hey, if I have salary, maybe I get some Thomas. And if I don't mind putting off at 2,500.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I would prefer to run it back with the Thomas or Strange. 2 very strong plays and getting some ownership, a way to cut into that ownership. You're already playing low-owned Jets. Brian Thomas would be my preferred. Obviously, a big salary difference, so I wouldn't force it. But again, a guy that can speed the game up so much faster. If someone is scoring a 70-yard bomb, giving it right back to Rodgers, it probably is Brian Thomas. Any Parker Washington love? He's a good football player. Shout out D-Gen. A couple weeks back when Trevor Lawrence died, Parker Washington went off. I know he had a good amount of him. Any thoughts on – I'm not playing Mac Jones, so that's the problem for me. But, I mean, the price tag, like there isn't really any viable receivers. People aren't going to receiver and going to that low 4K range. Everyone's staying in that 5, 6K range. So any thoughts on him or anything else in this game?
For me, no. This is a guy that was 3-3 a couple of weeks ago that we were rostering. I get it if you're making multiple lineups and he kind of falls in and you want to get a little bit exposure, but not for me. I think I'd be more inclined to just fade and play Jets D. This would be the one defense on the slate, though, that I would be comfortable just rostering the defense only and not messing around with that new running back committee, if you will.
Jags, Panthers for defense, same price, 2,700. Who do you prefer?
Jags for me.
Panthers for me.
I like it. Will be 2 pretty popular defenses at that same price.
The one thing I would say though, and I think personally think he's a little bit overrated, but what if Sauce Gardner just locks down, guards Brian Thomas, shadows him. DJ Reed has been ruled out for this game. I don't really like Parker Washington, but I think you can make a case for it with their cornerback 2 being out. So yeah. I don't hate it.
Yeah, no, Ham always dive in. I love that stuff. Dive into the little things. Again, you're seeing 0.5 ownership, and I'm not playing Mac Jones, so I do think it is a little thin, but we're not talking really any receivers at that same price range, which is the reason. But BJ liked a little Rodgers, Devontae, Wilson. I like Devontae. Ham likes some Wilson, Devontae. Jag side, I think Brian Thomas, Strange. Ham made a case for Tank that I do think is a little interesting. But again, running back's just such a strong position. The opportunity cost, you definitely need Tank to do something. But the price being down there, you can flip the build. Again, I probably think it's a little better 1 p.m. only with 7 games going that route, but an interesting call for sure.
Yeah, and then my bad. Just to finish,
no, you're good.
The Jets could score 21 points today, and it could be 2 to Adams, 1 to Wilson, or swap those, and it could just be just 30 bomb, 30 bomb, 30 bomb. So that's why I say they could just fall in to be at the 2-yard line on 1st and goal, and they're just throwing rather than getting one of these running backs in. Yeah,
last thing there, 10%, both in check, 3% Rodgers. Nobody wants to click Aaron Rodgers right now in Week 15, so I like it, BJ. You can always talk me into some Rodgers over here. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, Washington Commanders, New Orleans Saints. We are looking at like a 42 total. Commanders 7.5-point favorites. Interesting right here. We saw spend up quarterback on the winner last week. We thought no one was going to stop the Darnold, Jefferson, Addison. There went big Josh Allen. Daniels a spend up quarterback option here. Scary Terry a clear pass catching pairing. I will say 2 other ones though. Daimi Brown, no Noah Brown for the Commanders. Demi steps in wide receiver 2 at only 3,100. Think he's in play. Even better in Daniel's stuff and makes Daniel's stuff cheap and easier. Zach Ertz, 4K. Never would I thought I would have said Zach Ertz's name as much as I have this year. Dude's been solid though. He's on the field. Daniels looks at him. Can get you a steady 10. Not sure we want 10, but what I do like about Ertz, everyone's going all the way down to the 2,500 range or going to McBride at 6K. Ertz falls right in the middle of that. So with so many relevant pass catchers that are pretty cheap, I do have interest in the Daniel stuff. He puts up 30. Not sure how many others are putting 30 on this slate. And since I'm not going Daniels, I love this Brian Robinson price tag at 6,200, 7-point favorites right there. So I like Commander stuff. The problem is when we talk about the Saints, no Derek Carr. So Jake Hayner, I mean, this team is trash. Scantling, Kevin Austin. I mean, what is going on with the Saints? So, BJ, I'm going to throw it to you. Can the Saints put up enough points to push Daniels to get there enough? We have seen Commanders multiple games this year where they just jump out 21-0, 28-0, and kind of let their foot off the gas pedal. But again, one Daniels run, one big play to Terry, it can get there. So talk to us about this game in the Dome.
Yeah, no, MVS went from being cut to the number 1 receiver on a football team within, 60 days or whatever. But to answer your question, no, I mean, this is just like, it isn't betting stuff, but like, how do you not take the points in the first half and then bet it down to 6.5 and just smash the Commanders win by a touchdown? I have done that. That's the way I'll go. Love it all the Commander stuff for me. We'll start at the bottom. Obviously, Commanders defense is in play, especially if you're getting 3% ownership, 4% ownership. I'm willing to pay up for that at 3,400. But realistically, I guess where my struggle is going to be is, do I just go Brian Robinson with Commanders defense, or do I get a little bit different and go like Daniels, Robinson, McLaurin? Because that's probably my favorite when I look at everything. I agree with the Zach Ertz stuff. I thought we were done saying his name like 3 seasons ago, but somehow we're talking about it every week now. 4K might be too much for me because exactly what you said. I think his true actual nut ceiling is like 16 points. And that would be multiple catches and a touchdown, obviously, with no yards because he catches and falls down. Or, he catches his 8 for 80, and that's where he falls. I think that is fully capped, and I'd rather play a cheaper guy. The Brown stuff is interesting at 3,100. Wasn't really on my radar, but I'm going to go look at that after the show. But I think my favorite stack is just Daniels, Robinson, and McLaurin, and just say, hey, I think they scored 28 points today. I hope it doesn't come from the defense if I'm not playing them. Daniels throws one to McLaurin, Robinson runs one in, and then that third one is kind of questionable to where, hey, maybe he runs one in, and I don't think that may be enough to pay off the 72 tag for McLaurin. But please talk me off, the quarterback, running back, receiver one for him, because that's where I'm landing.
Ham, I'll let you go first, and then anything on the Saints, but answer BJ's question, then I'll circle back to it, BJ.
Yeah, no, I actually like it with the exception, hey, just go Jaden and B-Rob and hope they rush 4 of them in, and you're going to get all of them that way. McLaurin, to me, that's a big price in my opinion. McLaurin's not really a guy that they pepper with targets. He normally gets a bomb, and he certainly could do it this one. But why wouldn't Jaden run, 10 for 85 yards and a touchdown, and B-Rob run like 25 times for 2 touchdowns? I think if you want to do that stack, and I talked about it in the slate plan over at shipitnation.com, just pairing Daniels and Robinson Jr. and then calling it a day. Like you said, getting 28, and they're just rushing them all in. I mean, Ertz would be the other one. I don't think you need a double Daniels, but in my opinion, it's going to Ertz. It's going to McLaurin if he's passing it. So it's clear to me. I'm not playing any De'Ami Brown, Zacchaeus, those guys. On the flip side, neither one of you mentioned Alvin Kamara.
I like money.
You like money? Well, I'm just saying. So listen, the last 3 weeks, you go on any show and all they talk about how great of a play Alvin Kamara is, and now all of a sudden, no one's going to play him. He's going to catch 7 passes. I think, and if you're playing Jaden doubles, in my opinion, you have to have a bring back, and it's not going to be MVS. It's not going to be Tavon Austin Jr., whoever that Kevin Austin guy is. It's not going to be Cedric Wilson. I don't know, man. Kamara is in a great spot, in my opinion, for somebody that's not – I mean, we've been bending over backwards to play this guy, and now no one wants to play him, and he's playing the Commanders. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm trying to find snap counts because I think Miller played a bunch of snaps last week, so that would be why I was
less than you thought, though. 72% of snaps Kamara still did play. Because I went to look right that up because I was watching the game, and it felt like the whole fourth quarter it was Keandre Miller and not Alvin Kamara. So I was surprised to see him even play 72%. But that is one of my worries, is they have nothing to play for. They're playing with a D-League squad. Why run Kamara into the ground, especially with Keandre Miller? I mean, they didn't even like that guy preseason. Another part is you have this Jake Harner, you have this third-string college guy coming out there trying to play in the NFL. He's got to get Kamara the ball, and you damn well know the Commanders are stacking that box as much as they can, making Harner beat him one-on-one with that receiving core. So I just think it's an uphill battle for Kamara all day. But if you think he catches 7 passes, you got to play him. And I think we're even hot on his ownership here. This might be 3%. So if you think he catches 7 balls, bet it. I mean, there's no way his reception prop's got to be 7, but bet it, and then I think it would be a fine DFS play. I can't do it, though.
I'll tell you why they're going to run Kamara into the ground, because their head coach is a psycho trying to get a head coaching job, and he's doing everything in his power to win. They beat the Giants last week, and you thought they just won the Super Bowl. I like him. Those special teams guys, they're a little they're a little click off, and so they're gonna play Kamara. They're playing to win and ruin the Commanders' season. So I'm in on Kamara this week.
Hey, I like it. You always stand with your calls. You have reasons. I wanted to circle back, BJ, with your Daniels, Brian Robinson stuff. It's not my favorite. I'm not going to be doing it in too many lineups, especially the ones I hand build. And the reason for that is just at Daniels' price of $7,500, if I want him to get a true ceiling, I think he's vulturing all the Brian Robinson touchdowns. Maybe Brian Robinson can get in 1, but they're implied for, 3.5 touchdowns? If Brian Robinson gets 1 of them and Daniels just gets 2, I'm not sure that's enough at the price. And I already have clear pass catchers in Terry, De'Ami Brown, and Ertz that I think I'd rather just go that way. All of them except Terry are cheaper, and there's really good running backs in that Brian Robinson in that same price range. Where if I'm going Daniels, I'm just going to expect Brian Robinson not to get there on the ground, and someone else does. I totally do get it. I'm going to throw it back to you and question on this. If you are going that route, are you forcing a Saint run back, or are you just saying it's 35-0 Commanders and it's all Daniels that way?
I think the 2 teams on the slate that have the capability of just seeing 3 guys in the winner for that style run out are this game and the next game with the Ravens, which we'll get to, right? I think those are the 2 teams where I love what you said about quarterback, running back. The same goes for Lamar and Henry next game. That was my thought is that, hey, they win that game 35-0. I agree with what you're saying. When you look at the prices, they are expensive. I saw low ownership. I saw the Saints are giving up the 6th most receiving yards in the NFL. So I'm thinking, all right, well, if Terry scores, then he bonuses. Then Jaden runs one in, Robinson gets 1. So that kind of goes back to what I said, at the start of the show. It's I don't want to get too cute this slate. That might fall into the too cute category. But if they score 28, 35 points, I would be very nervous that, 2 or 3 of those guys falling on the winner.
Great breakdown. This is a perfect segue. You mentioned this next game. A couple people are going, all right, man, lay the house. Said Lamar. Bruno was pondering Lamar or Daniels. I'll even throw Josh Allen in that boat. So take us 46.5 total. Ravens, big boy favorites, 16.5, a number you almost never see. I think Ravens defense, interesting. Derrick Henry makes a lot of sense. That is where ownership will be going. But I do want you to talk about, would you rather Daniels, Lamar, Allen, rank them as spend ups, and then break down this game.
I mean, it has to be one, right? I mean, they're coming off their bye. They're the biggest favorite of the year. They get the Giants. I mean, this just screams like, get everybody right. Get the offense right. You're coming off a bye. You know, they're going to be prepared for the game. This just – and I think to throw in, I think you get a little Zay Flowers love today. I think they might manufacture at least, you know, extra looks, let alone a touchdown for him. I'm all over this. This would fall into the same category of what I said before. What is Jackson, Henry, Flowers look like? Obviously, Flowers is scary, much cheaper. So the discount you get or the extra money you spend on getting up to Lamar, you get to save on the Flowers when you compare the two stacks. But yeah, no, I mean, this is everything. This is quarterback, running back, receiver. I won't fall to Andrews or Likely, but yes, Ravens defense. And then before I pass it off to Ham, Malik Neighbors at 64, maybe. I mean, we know it takes one pass versus the Ravens. I know I'm begging, but that would be my real highlights for this game.
I was definitely on the fence about the Neighbors stuff as well. Like, I obviously love Henry Ravens. I don't know how much Zay I'm going to get. The price is good. It has been disappointing. Lamar is way up there. Like, if I had to pick Lamar or Daniels, I prefer Daniels because of the game environment. I do worry that they get up by 14, 21, whatever. It'll be just all Derrick Henry, and you need Lamar to do a lot. But, I mean, yeah, it's the Giants. These dudes are awful. They're implied for 29 points are the Ravens. Talk to me about Neighbors, though. He's the one I've been going back and forth. Obviously, I don't like it on FanDuel, Ham. AK's a lot. 6,400 and a better full-point PPR guy there. So talk about this one.
Yeah, I mean, you beat the Ravens through the air. You have all season. You can't run on them. You have to throw to them. We saw Tommy DeVito against the Bucs a couple weeks ago, and he's not any good. This Giants team is so bad. Dable has like 3 games left to coach, and he's fired. The Ravens defense is in a great spot. I mean, it's Neighbors on DraftKings only. And then on the flip side, you always talk about, you know, TD props title. You probably know this, but Derrick Henry's minus 270. That's pretty high. I mean, he's plus 200 to score 2 touchdowns, which is insane of itself. You're the cash game guy, but I think he's a cash game lock on FanDuel. I don't know about DraftKings, but they should roll through this Giants team. No Dexter Lawrence. Lamar hasn't been running as much. It's funny. He hasn't been running as much. And like the last play of the game against the Eagles, he rushes for like a 60-yard rush when it doesn't matter. It's Derrick Henry and the Ravens defense for me only in this one. Interested to hear your take on this one, Title. If you have it, you know, what's your take on Lamar? I just don't think Lamar needs to do it, but go ahead. No,
I'm with you. I'm on Derrick Henry, Ravens. I think the premium you're paying with Lamar, I'd rather go Daniels if spending up. I think I'd rather Josh Allen if spending up just because of the game environment there. But I don't even love spending up today. Like some of these mid-tier quarterbacks, we saw plenty to talk about. This guy named Joe Burrow in the next game, like give me the savings and Burrow in that stack all day over there. So, I mean, I play a bunch of teams. Like I'm not Xing out Lamar there in my hand builds, my like 5 to 7 hand builds. I won't be building any Lamar teams. Derrick Henry, Ravens, maybe Neighbors, but I think it just keep it simple. Hope it's through the run as big boy favorites. Nothing else in that game. If not Ham, I'm going to go right to you in this next one. Bengals and the Titans. Pretty big total in this one, 47.5. Bengals 4.5-point favorites on the road. Bengals games are always so fun, man. Joe Burrow's a stud. You have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, all studs. I always like myself a little Yoshi Voss as well. Not today on the main slate, but look at this. This is also why Bengals games are fun. What a terrible defense. D pass defense, C+ for the rush defense. I will say 15% we're showing Calvin Ridley. He will get ownership. Everybody else, though, not looking like it. I believe it said Tony Pollard will play this morning. Ham, Titans, Bengals, give me all the Burrow, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Is there any other run back besides Calvin Ridley? Obviously, I guess if you want a free money, Nick Westbrook-Akine to score a touchdown catches somehow every single Sunday. But what do you got, Ham?
Yeah, man. Boots on the ground here. A little overcast. It was raining this morning, but man, like you said, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I mean, it's Joe, it's Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. T. Higgins, I love the doubles with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and no bring back. I'm fine with not bringing anything back. I think you can beat this Titans team passing. The team is these Titans games just get so sloppy and they just slow things down. Tony Pollard, I think, is in play. This Bengals rush defense is not very good. They're starting Logan Wilson, starting middle linebackers on the IR, missing a couple defensive linemen. The only chance, I don't know why the Titans would want to win, but the only chance they have to win is to run the ball, in my opinion, to slow it down. I think you talked about it earlier, just forget which game it was, but just slowing the game down, just chewing off 5 and 6 minute, drives and then like punting. I'm going to be lower on this game though than maybe you two, maybe most. And I definitely don't like Calvin Ridley, not with Will Levis back there.
Yeah, how bad is Will Levis, man? He has been so bad. Yeah, I guess my question to throw it to you, BJ. Can I just go Burrow, pick Tua, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, no run back, and move on? And then what are you doing in this one?
Yeah, no, I was trying to find it, but I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Yeah, everybody has like a couple of buddies that they text on every play of a football Sunday. I texted my one buddy. I said, if I don't play Burrow, Chase, Higgins every single week, stab me in the chest.
I like it.
Once he's back, I mean, the offense is so different. Like what you said, they give up points. I don't think this is one of like the 2 or 3 teams that you can be in the arena of no run backs, which I agree, especially if the ownership is on Ridley at 15%. It's just Burrow to Chase and Higgins as kind of like my primary stack, but I do absolutely love the idea of Burrow to Brown to Chase. My question to throw back to that is, if you do roster Chase, are you like almost inclined to like be able to win a tournament or have to win a tournament with Chase Brown catching a touchdown, kind of how we saw last week?
If you are
I think your upside
I
just think your upside is a little capped in terms of like winning first. If he just rushes for 100 yards, has a couple of catches, and it's a 50-50 coin flip if he scores, because Chase is going to get his. But yeah, I think I'm passing back. I think I'm Burrow, Chase, Higgins, and then next is the Chase Brown to Chase. But I'm going to be nervous knowing that I probably need him to catch a touchdown to win first place.
I think you definitely can do it because of Chase Brown's targets. 8 last game, 7 a couple games back, 11 a couple games back. The problem is, it's like, because I'm saying no, like I'm fine without a run back, and I am fine without a run back. But if they jump out early, like 17-0, I don't know. Like, can it get all the way to the top? I don't know, Ham. When we're talking all this, what are your thoughts? And obviously, like Millie Maker versus a 500-man field, completely different ball games we're talking. Break down this game, Ham.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, like you said, I mean, the Chase Brown catches those passes. I know last week against Dallas, it was a back and forth game. The Titans just don't have the pieces to keep up. I see a lot of Tyler Boyd revenge game in there.
Yeah.
And Callahan, who's our coach now, was the Bengals OC last year. So maybe he designed something. If you have Tyler Boyd and he does, no one, I mean, he's going to be like less than a 0.5%, but
bet him to score a touchdown, like Tambo says. I think it's exactly too thin.
Yeah, bet him to score a touchdown. It's better than playing him DFS. Like I said, I'm going to be lower on this game just because I think it's something. I mean, the Bengals offense is lights out. I think I don't know their playoff odds, but I know that, they have to win out.
Pretty much out, I think.
Yeah, they're pretty much out, but, they're going to play to win, I think, right? So I think they win the game. I just think the Titans try to slow it down. It's Burrow and then the 2 receivers for me. No tight ends, no Chase Brown. That's the way I would be doing it. And I am going to build some Burrow teams on FanDuel with just Jamar Chase and then with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I like that. And then I don't like a run back, but if I would, it would be Pollard or Ridley, but I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary either. I do like getting, like someone asked how popular Chase Brown will be. We have him at 22%. Yeah, he's definitely going to be popular. As you see, all these dudes somewhat popular, so I wouldn't be surprised if this Burrow ownership ticked up a little bit. But again, it's still low enough. You can play Burrow, pick 2 of these 3, and I definitely will be doing that. Like, I'm not making a rule by any means, but I have a hard time seeing none of these Bengals get there today. The defense is just so bad. If the Bengals stall early, I think Titans can move the ball a little bit. And then the problem is I think Titans can move the ball, but they can do it in a variety of ways. Like Spears still plays. Pollard has a price tag. Akine, like I never play him. He scores, but he eats into stuff. Ridley gets ownership. Chig randomly will break off a 60-yard screen. So I think the Titans can move the ball, even with how bad Levis is. I just don't know who it is, so I don't want to guess there. But I do think the Bengals, whether it's Chase, Higgins, Brown, just one of them, couple of them, do get there today in a big way. So I will be playing Bengals for sure. We are going to the afternoon games. You can see we do have the Stone 1 p.m. Eastern, now 4:25, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in the afternoon, which is awesome for late swap stuff, for just the afternoon slate in general. 5 games, big boy prizes out there. Feels a tough early slate. Maine's not looking great. Hey, you can gear up for the afternoon. And, of course, Showdown as well, where Ham, Big Nate's talk through it. Also, all of our content on the site. Patriots-Cardinals, going to throw it right to you in this one, BJ. We have Cardinals 6-point favorites, 46 total, and we are seeing a good amount of ownership in this game. Kyler, Connor, Big Marv, Trey McBride, Cardinals defense, all showing over 10%. Pat side, though, not much ownership here, but hey, a couple different colors on the Stone. I think Hunter Henry, a little interesting. Take this one away.
Yeah, no, real quick. There's nothing like, I'm West Coast, so games start at 10 a.m. There's nothing like the 11:15 text message from your buddies. Afternoon, what are we playing? You know, there's nothing like it. The game start, you immediately start building. But no, I have interest. You know, we talk about these expensive quarterbacks last couple games, and then you stare Kyler Murray in the face at 6K. And it's like, dude, this is one of those things where like, don't get too cute. He's 6K. I love the Murray to McBride. I think this is a touchdown week for him. I think the narrative is played enough. It's time for him to score. I mean, he's 11th in red zone targets and 9th inside the 10-yard line. And he doesn't have a touchdown. So I'm just going to keep playing him every week until he scores a touchdown. I think the $12,000 you spend for Murray to McBride is obviously going to be, popular at double-digit ownership, but it just feels really good versus Patriots. But a little concerned the Patriots run the ball. I get the Drake May stuff. People are talking about him. He's cheap. And they're getting kind of, not cute, but going May to Hunter Henry on the other side, which I don't mind. But that's really it. Those are really my 2 stacks. I'm not going to touch Harrison on the Cardinal side with the matchup. James Conner, I have no idea what to do with. He's just kind of like, you're staring 20% in the face and you're like, damn, there could be a game where he scores twice and catches passes. But I think I like the Murray to McBride stuff a little bit more. And then on the other side, if I was playing, I do like the Drake to Hunter stuff for very cheap at 4,300 and 5,600.
Great breakdown. Ham, I see a variety of plays in this game, especially on the Cardinals side. Similar to kind of what I said about the Bengals stuff. Like I think one of Chase Brown, Chase Higgins get there. I think one of James Conner, Big Marv, Trey McBride gets there today. Obviously, Kyler coming with ownership. Start that side, and then I'm curious on your low-owned Pats if there's any sneaky run backs you got.
Yeah, Cardinals on DraftKings specifically. I mean, obviously Kyler coming in at 6K. I mean, Marvin at 5,500. Christian Gonzalez is a beast, but I think that he can get the job done. And then Trey McBride, I mean, people are going to jam him in right at 6K. I mean, that trio right there, relatively cheap, right around 17K. So if I'm playing Kyler, even though he can run, I would be doing Kyler doubles. I have a couple Kyler double teams on DraftKings that I like. If you wanted to sprinkle in James Conner, don't hate that as well. This Patriots defense, what do we have them? The rush defense, we have them a C-. That's probably about right. They're not very good. Hey, and we all know the Cardinals want to run the ball. So I think the Cardinals are in a great spot in this game. And then on the flip side, Hunter Henry is going to be very chalky on FanDuel, coming in at 5,000. So he'll be the cash game play over there, and he'll be popular. Like you said, I don't mind DeMario Douglas, especially on DK, where he'll just rack, potentially if they get behind, he could rack up, 12 targets, get 7-8 catches. So don't hate that. I don't like Kendrick Bourne, though. I see we got a color on him. Butte, I don't hate him. He's still playing 100% of the snaps. And then one FanDuel play, and not that I love it, but you're very good at always talking about late swap. if you're behind on FanDuel specifically and have Charbonnet in there at 6,700, I wouldn't hate going down to Stevenson at 6,600. They could feed it to him 20 times. He fall in the box, twice. So just something to think about if you're behind and have Charbonnet. I think it's a great pivot just to drop down $100 to Stevenson.
Yeah, great call there. Late swap. It's important every single week. With 5 extra games, though, very, very important. It's important cash games, tournaments. Just say you're in second place in tournaments and the guy above you has the same player. Again, you have to do some risk reward stuff, but if you think someone is very likely to outscore them or you think it's a coin flip, go to the other guy. Now, I'm not saying drop down from James Conner to Jared or Jaleel McLaughlin in this next game to take first place. You're probably giving up way too much second place equity for stuff that way. But always I'm looking at my tournament teams, my cash teams. Am I blocked? Am I good? Can I block someone else in a cash game to make sure that it's impossible for them to win? Little stuff like that. Always. You got to find those little edges in DFS. And late swap's a big one. 5 games to work with in the afternoon. I don't have much to add. It's crazy. Pootie's playing 1 million snaps. I still don't like him because he stinks. Pop Douglas would be my favorite pat with Hunter Henry and just go like one of those two. Cardinals put up points. Pop Douglas, Hunter Henry on the way back. Cooper over Henry. I'll let you talk about that, whoever pulled it up.
Yeah, I pulled that up. Not for me. Not even close. But it would be Hunter Henry for sure over Austin Hooper.
Yeah. I did want to pull up. Yeah, I love this one. We put out the Sunday Night Football show, and if you're tilted already, go check out the Sunday Night Football show with Ham and Nades. I got nothing more to add. 700 watching. We are 1 game through the afternoon, so we have 4 games left. Again, do want to remind anyone else, tune in late. All we ask, again, like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton, but if you want to join us over at The Nation, just football, college football, NFL, $99 for the rest of the season, $30 extra for Shiptimizer, our own optimizer over here. If you want all the sports, NBA, shout out Ham, BJ, Rio, NHL, shout out Nades, college football, MMA, PGA coming back. BF50 is your promo code. Gets you 50% off your first month. 3 games left. 4 games left. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 games left. Broncos, Colts. Broncos 4-point favorites. 44-point total in this one. I look first thing at the stone. D- pass defense. D+ rush defense. These Colts, no good at all. Ownership in this game, very low though. BJ, I'm going to throw it to you. I've been on the fence. Like in my hand builds, Bo Nix, and then I think it's really easy. Bo Nix to Sutton. If you want Valet, I think that's fine as well. My favorite approach would be Bo Nix, Sutton. I don't think you need a run back. If you did, JT Downs are highlighted. But yeah, talk to me about the Bo Nix stuff quick and then break down this one.
You said it perfect. Exactly what I was going to say. I'll keep it short and pass it. It's my boy Vanilla Vic with Sutton, run back Pittman at way too cheap on the other side. Not a Josh Downs guy. I get there have been injuries to Downs, and AR obviously has missed time, but they only have 17 catches together. They've played, 13 games because they've already had a bye, plus the injuries and stuff, but 17 catches throughout the whole year. I'd rather go to Pittman at 52. That screams to me like an easy hand build. Nix, Sutton, Pittman. Really, that's it for me. I don't want to touch a Jonathan Taylor against the Broncos defense. I get, it's not the most inviting, sexy total at 43, but that's kind of falls into my skinny. Just keep it simple. Boom, boom, run back Pittman.
Fine with no run back too?
I'm sorry?
Are you fine with no run back too?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've seen too, like in some of these games where the Broncos have like a commanding lead, they still throw the ball in the fourth quarter. So, that's a little bit more inclined to kind of mix in a second piece if that's the case. But this is just keep it simple and skinny for me.
Yeah, I love it, Philly. Yeah.
Vanilla Vic, man. That's the guy right there, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I heard that like at the start of the year, and that's the only thing I say now.
I love it. Yeah. I'm in. Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, Mini. I don't even love run backs. Your Pittman shot over Downs. Interesting. We can see right here 100 more, projected 1 point less, but a fourth of the ownership. So that is interesting. I still probably don't run anything back. Talk us into some Ham. I feel like you're always a JT guy, and he's always low owned. So
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I mean, I'm not playing this game, but man, JT he's gonna touch it 25. The problem is if you get inside the 5, he's not gonna get it in because Anthony Richardson, I mean, that elevated air, Anthony Richardson can probably throw it 90 yards, but it's going to be like 87 yards over somebody's head. Like, give me some JT, though, man. Gosh, why did you have to say that, Tyler? Like, I mean, he's so
every
good.
week. Every week you love yourself, JT.
I do. 25 carries the last time they played against the Patriots. Vanilla. I've never heard Vanilla Vic. We're 15 weeks in. That's the first time I've heard it. He just doesn't run it anymore, man. Like the last 4 games, he hasn't run, which it'd be tough to play. And I'm not playing Cortland Sutton, man. That's just, to me, that's a crapshoot. I think he stinks. Vele stinks.
Cortland Sutton stinks. How?
I don't know. I just have the last 2-3 years in my head, and it's like,
Fair
but
enough.
he's had a really good season. He's had a really good season. Let's go some JT. You talked. I gotta have a JT team now title because
Literally every week I knew you were gonna. He just loved JT. He's always low owned. I'll give you that. And he has
always
big
low
play
owned.
upside.
They want to run it. Like their quarterback can't pass it, so they have to run it. Yeah, I got to build a JT team now. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and
I'll jump in real quick. It's funny. I golf lessons. So in my golf swing, my tempo is Jonathan Taylor. So I said that every time I swing. Well, I'm not going to say the coach's name in my head. That's freaking weird. But I'm like, all right, football player, right? So I say that every time. But I don't think I've rostered him once this season. So maybe that's why I'm having a tough year.
No, you're probably having a good year. I'm not sure how much JT's been on the winner this year. Yeah, Ham is lit. I agree. Ham is awesome for sure. If you guys got nothing more to add in that game, let's take it to the game of the week, no doubt, in terms of real-life football. DFS, though, interesting. 54-point total. The Bills traveling to Detroit. 1.5-point favorites are the Lions. Obviously, the Bills in a shootout last week against the Rams. Josh Allen puts up the nuke. It was enough in most spots. I mean, you definitely wanted it. The Darnold, Addison, Jefferson made the slate tricky. Big boy total. Ownership, though. Nothing on the Bills side, as you can see. Shakir, the highest at 11%. Nothing on the Lions side. Amon-Ra, the highest at 11%. I don't know, man. I don't love this game. I definitely will say that. The reason, even that such low ownership and all this, like the Lions side, is it Gibbs today? Nope, maybe not. Maybe it's Montgomery. Oh, maybe it's J-Mo or Tim Patrick or St. Brown. Never Laporta, and then he'll find a way. It'll be Laporta. Bill's side would be my preference, but man, it's expensive on both sides. Like my favorite way to go would be Allen, Shakir, call it a day. It's expensive though. I don't love this spot really at all. One-offs really at anything. BJ, talk to me. Tell me where I'm wrong if you're on the same page.
No, yeah, I agree. This kind of reminds me of what was that? Eagles-Ravens, was that 2 weeks ago? Maybe 3. 2 weeks ago where it was like afternoon game, huge total, and like it just felt like people weren't getting to it. You're inclined to play it at 54.5, obviously, right? And then you get, cheaper pieces. Amari Cooper had, 14 targets last week. Coming into a team mid-season, it kind of falls in. Give him a month or two. I think they kind of have to get him going, which they have been before the playoffs start. I think it's Allen to Cooper for me with the discount. Obviously, Shakir is a great play, but I think I'd rather go Cooper. But couldn't agree more with what you said. I think, if I am playing like a safer stack with like Goff, it would be like Goff and Williams for me, taking the discount of almost $2,000 over Amon-Ra, knowing that, he could catch a 70-yard touchdown. But I agree. It's Gibbs over Montgomery for me, and it's Williams, Jameson over St. Brown.
I like it. Someone said, what are the odds one of these Detroit plays is a must-have? Obviously, it's really hard to put a number to that. What I would go to is look at the Stone the Optimal. So what is that? About 10, 15, add another 17 there, 32, 37. Maybe let's say like a 35% chance maybe if you're going based on the optimals there. To be honest, I think that's a little high. I don't love the game though. So Ham, any thoughts on that question? That's the only way I thought you could answer with any logical thing behind just spitting out a random number. But do you have more interest in this Bills Lions game?
Man, I do. I have a ton of interest. And I'll tell you, and BJ brought up a good point. So we got a 54.5-point total, which obviously isn't everything, but the next highest total is like 47.5. And we're almost a full touchdown. And the one difference I would say between that Ravens game and the Eagles game was One, we're indoors, but two, these defenses are not very good. Where I think the Ravens and the Eagles have very good defenses. The Ravens are suspect passing, but I think this is going to be back and forth. I love it. I love Josh Allen naked in this. You get Keon Coleman coming back. You have Kincaid coming back. He's going to spread it around. Do I think he's going to go for like 55 again? No. But, Josh Allen is a beast. If they want to have any hope of getting home field throughout, they got to win out and hope the Chiefs lose twice. And then we know the Lions, they're in a great spot. As someone mentioned, the Sun God, he would be my favorite one. These running backs, they're just too high priced, to go 50-50. So you can't do that. And then the last thing is the reason why I like Amon-Ra was we saw what the Rams did, the pass catchers, right? A lot of screens, a lot of short passes. Zone coverage is what the Bills play. They want to keep everything in front. That's Amon-Ra to a T. Amon-Ra is not a burner. He's going to go slip screen. He's going to go, 10-yard dig. I like a little Josh Allen. You can get Cooper, but bring it back with the Sun God. But, man, Josh Allen's my favorite play of the day. He'll be on my main team for sure. I think this game goes over the posted total. It's a 7 points is the next closest one. So I love the game.
It's hard to argue. Anyone that watched the Bills-Rams last week, Josh Allen was in a complete zone. Like, it was real evident. Shout out Sean McVay going for it on that 4th and 5. It was real clear you could not give the ball back to Josh Allen. And in this spot, he's in a dome again on the road. And you look at it, C+ pass defense, A- rushing defense for the Lions, a pass funnel right there. You could totally see if Josh Allen has time back there like he did last week, he definitely can carve it up. So that's why I rank him above Lamar. The Daniel stuff is close, but for sure above Lamar because just the pure game environment right here. I think in the fourth quarter, they're going to need Josh to drop back, whereas I'm not sure that's the case with Lamar. Go ahead, Ham. I know you're going to say something.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but Allen, when he wants to run, I think he had like 70 yards in the last 15 minutes, the fourth quarter of that game. And this Lions defense is just so battered. They're obviously Hutchinson's out. They have so many secondary pieces out. They're bringing up Jamal Adams, who couldn't even play for the Titans this year. It's like their defense, their pass defense is bad. And then on top of that, this is the season-long averages of both. So it's just gotten worse. We saw Dan Campbell, we want to talk about go for it. He went for it, which I think was the right move, by the way, against the Packers, not to give them the ball back because you don't want to give, the ball back with 45 seconds. But, man, Josh Allen, to me, is clearly the best quarterback play on the slate on both sites, regardless of price. I just think he's set up for a monster spot.
Yeah, and look at ownership, not really going 3% both sides. Maybe gets up to 6 or something.
Sorry to interrupt. Is that just the respect? I get there's other options, right? That's just the beginner level of respect for the Lions defense, not diving in deeper like what Ham said, where they're banged up. But is that all that it is? It's going to be price and respect because Josh Allen, after dropping 1 million fantasy points to back to 2% ownership, is unreal.
Yeah, that's why I think maybe it's like 5 or 6 because people do have the recency that way. But I do think it's a lot to do with the price, the lack of value besides the tight end stuff, and just people don't love playing Shakir. Shakir always feels like he's more under-owned than he should, but no one wants to click Amari Cooper or Kincaid or Coleman. So I do think it's the lack of pass catching that way. The price, and then just people feel inclined to pick a line too. And it's what line are you going to go to? So I think it's just so many other options in this game. Who's the run back, the price, what other quarterbacks in his range. I think it's all of that, but I do think we're probably a little light because of what he did last week. And people do see that. And people are just going to see this game, by far the highest total. And you check ownership. Sometimes it's not a rocket scientist. You go to some random guy in the street, play the game with the highest total and you'll win. And it's not showing a lot of ownership. So yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what kind of streets you're walking on. That's a sharp street you're on if they just play the top total. But I'm with you.
I think part of it too, though, is that people are so obsessed with stacking in DFS football. And I get it, but so there's not no one, but with Allen, there's so many options to stack with. There's 6 different options to stack with. and none of them are great. You have Shakir, you have Hollins, you have Kincaid. And so I think people naturally just don't want to play Josh Allen with no receiver. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that, but that's just my belief, and maybe that's why. And he's high priced, and Detroit's high priced, and they're spread out as well. Josh Allen with Amon-Ra. I really like that skinny today.
What was Puka's price last week? Because I love it. Once you say it makes so much
maybe?
sense. 76. Now Amon-Ra 76. It's the exact same thing as last week. I absolutely love it, Ham.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Gibbs, if I had to pick one, I think it would be Gibbs, but Amon-Ra totally right there. It would probably be Gibbs or Amon-Ra as my favorites. As you can see, Bills a little worse against the rush. I hate the split against Montgomery, but I'm always just going to go eye test, Gibbs, big play, upside, a very close game. You got to think Dan Campbell maybe relies on Gibbs a little bit, especially if they're trailing late. Like it's going to be Gibbs over Montgomery in there in those.
Yeah, but then you saw last week, like Montgomery caught all of the catches out of the backfield. It's almost like they're design screens. It was so weird. I don't know. Maybe that teams are starting to figure it out. If you can figure it out from the couch that Montgomery's not catching the ball, I guess other teams can too. So that's what I'll add to that.
I know, and that's probably keep circling back, and it's like, how much do I really love this game? It's really hard for me. But, yeah, Allen, Shakir, Cooper, one-off line side if I am going this game.
Swaggy Pete. I said he was the best play on the slate. Like we're saying how great he is. He's going to shred today.
Get on your knees, Ham. He wants more from you. All right, let's keep it rolling. Again, appreciate every single one watching. We have 2 games left. Ham, BJ, stepping in for Hoop and Tambo. Give them a like. Give them a subscribe. Chargers, Buccaneers. Chargers 3-point favorites. Looking at a 45-point total in this one. Looking at ownership. Herbert's getting some. Ladd's getting some. Stone Smart's getting some. After that, though, this game is very, very low owned. Gonna throw it to you, Ham. To start, Mike Evans showing really low ownership. I guess how does he compare to the Tyreeks, the Terry McLaurins of the world, the Amon-Ra's of the world? Bucky Irving will play, but I don't think this is something I want to mess with. Bucky, Rachaad White back there now in what feels close to a split. Herbert, Ladd, Stone Smart. Again, we are assuming Ladd will play. He is questionable. What are you doing in this one?
Yeah, real good game. Let's start on the Chargers side because I think Harbaugh's a really good coach, and you can't they can't run the ball. I mean, Gus Edwards, Kamani Vidal are not the answer. And so how are they going to win? You're going to pick on one of the worst secondaries in the NFL with no Antoine Winfield. They have got to pass the ball. I know Herbert's a little beat up, but I think he's off the injury report. Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston, Joshua Palmer, I think are all in phenomenal spots. Josh Palmer would be a free square for me if Ladd sits on both sides. I mean, if you watch the Sunday night game last week with no Ladd, Palmer was his go-to guy. Like
Johnson can't catch.
Johnson can't catch. So bad. And Joshua Palmer was going back to the Tank Dell stuff. I mean, he had the Chiefs secondary beat, and he just got overthrown. So, how many targets did he have last week? Like, I think he had 8+ targets.
Palmer, he had 9.
Yeah, Palmer. Yeah, I mean, that was their go-to guy, and at that price, I love him. I love Josh Palmer this week. I'll have a little bit of him with Ladd in, but without. I mean, he may be in all my teams. And Stone Smart to me is an easy fade. Not an easy fade, but because he's free on DK. But I prefer Josh Palmer over him. And then on the Buccaneers side, I mean, Evans is too expensive. Jalen McMillan I wrote up. I mean, I don't hate Jalen McMillan. He had two TDs last week. He's their wide receiver too. Played 75+% of the snaps. Jalen McMillan I don't hate if you're having like a full on Herbert double stack. No K Dotton for me. Y'all talked about it. With tight end this week, so I won't be getting any of that.
I'm higher on Mike Evans than you because I will, like you said, Chargers can't run the football. They're dropping Herbert back more than they ever expected. I am assuming Ladd plays, so I think Ladd's fine. In Herbert stuff, like Johnston, Palmer are fine too. I do prefer Stone Smart in teams I'm playing Herbert than not. I'm not going to just say I'm not going to play him as a one-off, but again, so many other options down there. Mike Evans is the one, though, that, especially in this Chargers stuff, to speed the game up. Yeah, I mean, he always has that 150, 2-touchdown game, Prices in check, 7,100 ownership in check. He's a way to speed up Herbert's stuff and ownership. Like Lad's getting ownership. Herbert's getting ownership. Smart's getting ownership. Evans is a way to get different in that and speeds up the game, tells a real life story. So yeah, I like this game. Limited pieces though for me on both sides. BJ, do you see it any different?
You guys drilled it. Love McConkey on his own if he plays. I think he does play. I love that, no stack needed. Then when you are stacking with Herbert, I love Palmer way over Quentin Johnson. He's got 7 drops in like 3 weeks, whatever it may be. But the Evans stuff is interesting on the other side. Like, I don't want to touch one of these running backs with Bucky's price up and Rashad White, needing to catch a touchdown really to pay off his price. The Evans stuff is weird. Like, I want to get to him because it's like 101 or 102 yards he needs a game to finish his 11th straight season of more than 1,000 yards. I think that is important. I think they do kind of force the ball a few times. But I think that's more of just like a separate bet, like Mike Evans over 100-yard bet if you're not getting to him in DFS. But you guys drilled it. I unfortunately will probably fall into the $2,600 tight end just because I'm going to build lineups and he'll be my last piece. But you guys hit it right on the head.
I like it. Last game of the slate. Again, appreciate every single one watching. We really do. Say it a lot. But hey, if we had 2 people watching the show right now, we would not be doing this. And we all love talking football. Appreciate you all. And again, if you want to join us at the Nation, BF50 gets you 50% off first month for all sports. If you just want football, college football, NFL, $99 for the season, $129 for Shiptimizer. BJ, I see you're laughing, so I'm going to throw it to you in this game to let us know what you're laughing at. And if you have interest, Steelers, Eagles, 42.5 total. Eagles, 4.5-point favorites. I'm also throwing it to you right away because I have no interest in this game. Saquon, of course, you can always play him. I prefer Derrick Henry if I'm spending up. I prefer those other receivers we mentioned in the world, Tyreek, Nico Collins, Terry with Jaden Daniels, etc. Good defense for the Steelers. I do think this game could be slowed down a bit, but yeah, what were you laughing at? I'm
laughing at Aaron. Get on your knees, Ham. He wants more. I love it. And then you know what? I'm also laughing because we're going to win all the money today. If Thielen is showing up in a Randy Moss jersey, there's no way he doesn't print at like 5,400. So no, I couldn't agree more. Ugly game. Obviously you want to get to Barkley, but I swear, man, there's a couple of things that have stuck with me for like the entire season, and it's these damn Eagles running these stupid ass 9 to 8 minute drives. And it's like you want to roster them, and it's just run. And I swear, man, they purposely fall at the 1 or the 2 yard line to kill another 40 seconds just so that Jalen Hurts can get there. But don't hate it. I don't love anything. You can do the Barkley stuff. Another record thing, that I saw, I think it's like 118 or 119 yards a game for Barkley to break the single season rushing record. Steelers defense, no thanks. I like to roster them. So kind of off it. I think this is like Eagles win the game, but how convincingly and what kind of fantasy production you can get from it.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. Like A.J. Brown, real price tag. Saquon, real price tag. I prefer just others in that range. I respect Steelers defense. I am definitely not clicking any of those Steelers. So easy fade for me. Ham, see it any different?
Yeah, don't love this game. We got the squeaky wheel narrative with A.J. Brown. I bet him plus 140 to score a touchdown. I do like A.J. Brown. And this Steelers offense, man, like who is Russell Wilson throwing to? Goodness gracious.
Big Mike Williams.
Exactly, Big Mike. But those safeties, I don't know if they're back. Reed Blankenship, and I forget the other one, but their secondary was beat up. Pat Freiermuth's not the worst play. But, I think I like what you said, BJ. I do think these coaches are looking at those records, right? If Saquon could break the record, that would be cool. Mike Evans. So don't hate Saquon, but give me some AJ Brown today. I got him on a few teams as well. I feel like they got in an argument last year, 2 years ago, something title, and then they just peppered AJ with the ball. No tight end to speak of either. So it's really him and Devontae for Hurts to throw it to. And Hurts' price on FanDuel is way too cheap of a price for Hurts. And when he has bad games, his bad games are 2 1-yard touchdown plunges. So I don't hate Hurts in this one either. Sorry, BJ, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's it. I couldn't agree more on the A.J. Brown stuff. Like, I think that was last year, the year before that. He like came off out of the game and started yelling at whoever it was, and they immediately threw him the ball like 3 times in a row. And it's like, hey, here you go, man. Don't yell at us, I just would rather pay the extra money and get to Chase. Like, that's it. If he was like 7,700, 7,600 on DraftKings, I think that does matter. An 8K. I love the bet. AJ Brown to score. Absolutely love it. Because even when they get down to the 6 or the 7, I think they'll force at least a target or two if they have multiple opportunities in there. Just wish he was a little cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, A.J. Brown and Saquon can break a slate any day. We all know that. That's why they're priced up. They also are competing with others in that same range. I think all what we're saying, at least me and BJ for sure, we prefer others in that range. Ham will take a shot on low. Own A.J. Brown, 1% DK, 2% FanDuel we are showing. That's all 12 games. Again, we aren't going to talk the FanDuel Sunday Night Football Packers Seahawks, but I will say Zach Charbonnet, way too cheap at 6,700. No Kenneth Walker. He is a staple over there. Will be very popular. BJ, final thoughts? Very much appreciate you stepping in. Great work as always. Again, BJ, very sharp, NBA, NFL, MLB. He's going to be here all the time over at Chip and Nation if you're a member. You definitely know him. Sometimes, more likely than not, you're probably looking up at the leaderboard looking for BJ's name. Final thoughts, BJ. Appreciate you hopping on again.
No, man, appreciate it. It was fun. I think this is a week for me, at least, that I'm not going to get too cute. I'm going to, like I said at the start of the show, I'm going to focus a little bit more on skinnies. I'm going to focus a little bit more on taking a team and trying to eat up every touchdown. And I think I'm okay with that versus trying to full game stack and get crazy. There's only a couple of those that you feel real comfortable about. But I am liking the, eat up every touchdown, just keep it skinny type stuff today.
I love it. I mean, most times I look at the Millie Maker winner. I'm like, yeah, zero chance I'd ever build that. Last week, if you had the Josh Allen, Shakir, Puka run back, chalk running backs, Addison, it wasn't a crazy one by any means. I think that's kind of what you're saying here, BJ. And I'm going to be approaching it the same way. Some solid chalk, definitely some pivots I think we talked about, certain games, run back, not run backs, etc. And again, the balance build, and then everyone is just saving at tight end. It's McBride up top, or everyone's going down, falling in that same 6K, 5K wide receiver boats. I think it's clear what the field's doing, and we have 12 games, though, that we can get different. Ham, any final thoughts? Always great doing shows with you. Love your takes. Final thoughts for the people.
Yeah, no, for sure. Enjoyed it. 12 games, hour and a half, loved it. I'm still, man, I love Josh Allen. I can't seem to get off of him. But, yeah, like you said at the beginning of the show, we have the live final, so hopefully a Ship It Nation member ships that. And then we also have the FanDuel Fan Championship, so someone's going to win a millie. I know Tambo's got a bunch of teams in there. I'm in there a bunch. So hopefully we have a bunch of nice sweats in the Discord. Appreciate you, Title. Appreciate you, BJ. Let's go ship it today.
Absolutely. Good luck to everybody out there in Nashville. Kenny, shout out to you. I know you're there for sure. Shout out everybody. Week 1, home league, best ball. Always enjoy these next couple weeks. Usually not looking at any of those teams. Today, look at those DFS teams, though. Check out those best ball home league teams. Appreciate every single one. Like button, subscribe button on the way out. Today feels like a great day to win some cheese. We will be back tomorrow for a 2-game slate on this channel. For BJ, for Ham, I'm Titletown. Be safe. Good luck today. Peace.